fans, and welcome in to another edition of the Off the Record podcast. I'm Trevor Cabea. On this week's episode of the show, we sit down with Otters forward Kayden Edwards and discuss his OHL career, what he likes to do away from the rink, and his season so far. Come along, let's have some fun. Well, we're here with Otters forward Kayden Edwards, another edition of the show. Kayden, man, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate you doing it for us.
Oh, thank you for having me. The last ones were pretty good. I'm excited to get on this and share my story and talk to you for a little bit.
Absolutely, man. So you a viewer of the show? Do you watch some of the episodes? Or...
Yeah, a couple of my good buddies. McLean did it. Watch that one. That one was pretty good. Jake Murray did one, I believe, and his was pretty good. I live with the guy, so I was laughing with him over a couple of stuff, so that's pretty cool. So now I'm sure when my turn comes around, they're going to give it to me for a couple of my answers, but that's what it's about.
Hey, that's what it's all about, man, just snapping it around and having the conversation on the pod. So let's talk a little bit let's jump into your story. Getting into the game, obviously an older brother, a couple of years older than you, but talk me through the inspiration of getting involved in the game of hockey.
Well, it's just always like a competitive nature between growing up with two other brothers. I have a younger one too. My dad's pretty competitive, so just growing up, like I've always known that Dylan's played hockey, so that was my thing too. Baseball in the summer, hockey in the winter. So it was no matter what you're doing something and you're doing it to win, and kind of being in that competitive nature and always being able to go against my brother and train with my brother kind of gave me an edge on competitiveness, like seeing the game in a different style. Obviously, he's older, he's been in the league longer, he's been playing the game longer, so it's good to have a resource like that. Not many people have that in their lives, so just having him by was cool, especially being able to play with him. If I was going through some lows in the seasons, it's always easy to text him and ask him for help and advice. And, of course, he's my brother. He's going to give it to me, and he's been through a lot through his OHL career, so he's a great resource to have for me, and I'm beyond thankful for the Otters for giving me a chance to play with him. And that's about it, really.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And obviously, growing up in that environment had to be a lot of fun, and obviously that competitive environment, and of course, kind of lighting that fire for you, right? And being able to have that opportunity and get into the game, right, and work your way up to this level. Talk to me about some of the younger years playing hockey, and again, where that kind of fire started for you to make it to the OHL.
Just really just seeing that Dylan made it and his story of being a late round pick and making it out of camp and then coming to the league his second year, just kind of inspired me to do better, as I wasn't picked the highest either, and it inspired me that he can do it, so can I. Just put your nose down and go to work, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what round you're picked or how tall you are or how fast you are, how skilled you are. It's how hard you work and how big your heart is. So just seeing that from him really gave me that fire to give it all I got and really give this sport everything.
Absolutely. And so let's fast forward. You get the call that you're going to be coming to Erie Otter. You're going to be drafted by the Otters. I know Dylan was so excited when you were picked by Erie. What was that moment like for you and your family?
It was pretty funny because Brownie actually called me a couple times and I didn't answer. I'm not very good at answering my phone. So then my coach I was playing for at the time told me to get on the ice. And I was like, why? Our season just ended, you know what I mean? And he goes, just trust me. And then I got the call from my agent, and I was pretty fired up. My season was over, and I wasn't happy about it. And to be able to get another opportunity to play hockey again, especially at this level, it was amazing. And I also found that it was very pivotal for my growth coming into this year. Having those 5 to 10 games last year really helped me set the guideline on what the league is, what type of league this is, and what do I got to do, being a smaller guy, undersized, not the heaviest, not the fastest. So it kind of gave me a guideline on how hard I had to work. But when I found out that I was playing with my brother, obviously it was cool, it was emotional, and class act by the Otters giving me the start alongside him on my first game was pretty cool, bringing my family down. But it was just a bunch of different emotions, and obviously it's something you look forward to, playing hockey from a young age. You want to be at this level, and it was just a dream come true.
Yeah, and obviously getting your first goal out of the way last season as well. How important was that for you to, again, establish yourself at this level, giving you maybe that confidence going into last summer that, hey, I can play at this level, and I think it kind of goes back to what you just mentioned there.
Yeah, the goal that I scored was a nice one. It was against, even though the London team had a couple guys out,
It's true.
it was against a great goalie who's signed to the NHL. Cam Allen, Bruce Devich, those guys were on the ice, so those are some top players. And knowing that I could play with those guys and produce at that level just kind of gave me an off season of a guideline to go into and continue to work because you can't be satisfied with nothing, right? So, but it was just cool, I was thrilled about it. My fifth game in, Dylan gave me a big smack. He's like, "You scored in your fifth game," and it took me like 38 games to score. So it was pretty cool, kind of, beating him in that sense of competitiveness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, anytime you score against London too, that's a great way, especially as an Erie Otter, to
Yeah.
get yourself
Yeah.
familiarized and again beloved by the fans.
Yeah, no, it was definitely cool. It was the last game of the season
was.
too, right? So it was special. The energy was just different in the building. Philly also got his first
It's
goal
true.
that game, so it was pretty special. Just the vibes around the room, everything, and then being able to get ready on playoffs and not kind of burden any weight on my shoulders and kind of just do my role that the team wanted me to do.
Yeah, I think it was important too. And again, looking back to last year's team, like as much as that game was against a team that, that London team, not all the superstars played, I think that game was so important for the team's confidence. Not that you guys weren't confident already, but going into that playoff series with Saginaw, felt like that game was huge for momentum to go into the series because if you remember back, the last night against Ottawa did not go so well.
Yeah.
So to go and you beat London the next day, and then boom, you're right into the playoffs, you're feeling good, offense is clicking, and then obviously you do what you do against Saginaw.
Yeah, it just keeps building from the last game. You score a lot of goals. You obviously feel good going into the playoffs, and you have a good first game in Saginaw, and then, things just keep building and building on top of each other, and then the guys start getting together. The team's doing well. Everyone's happy. You're winning games. There's nothing really to be down about. It helps the team, with that last game being such a high, like a lot of shout out to the fans for keeping
Yeah.
great energy and showing up, even though it's the last game. It means a lot to the guys and the teams to like fight for wins and to see this crowd get into it. It's an honor and it's truly something special.
Yeah, it certainly is. And those London games, man, I know you've played in a few now. There's nothing like it.
No, it's unbelievable. The Sweet Caroline, London Sox, it's a good rivalry. They're obviously always a good team, very competitive. So it's always fun playing against them, getting in the corners, battling them. Fans are always engaged with it because obviously they hate London, right? So it's obviously cool to be able to beat them and have our fans behind us.
Yeah, it certainly is. Always a lot of fun. Again, so many memories thinking back. Did you ever attend one with Dylan playing? I know, obviously, again, the separation in years is only, what, 3
Yeah,
from you
3
guys?
years,
So, like,
yeah.
it's not like Ricky, for example, Evan Hedrick, whose brother was obviously on the 2017 team and then now plays with the Otters. So, a little bit closer to where he was obviously in attendance for when the team won the championship in 17. Like, so maybe not, a little different, I guess.
No, yeah, I was at a lot of games. Obviously, we came up to Erie quite a bit, especially the years before that when they played Kitchener in the playoffs. I was at every game. Kitchener.
What a series that
Yeah,
was.
it was unbelievable. Some of the best hockey I've ever seen played. It was unfortunate how it ended, but yeah, we always make the trip up to London. It's a great arena, obviously one of the best. Fills up. So I've been to a couple London Erie games, and it's just like the type of energy is different. Like,
Yeah.
you walk into the building, the fans are engaged right away, the players are setting the tone early, so it's pretty cool. It kind of gives you like an experience of what it is and like the pros and like that playoff hockey without being in the playoffs type of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nothing. There's nothing like it, and this place behind us too, and it gets packed, man.
Oh,
I can
it's something
imagine.
special.
For you guys down there on the ice, that just has to feel like the coolest.
Yeah, it's the best. Like you're having a good shift, and the crowd's oohing and awing and getting into it. It keeps you going. Like you get down on the ice and you could be tired and stuff like that. But when the fans are engaged and making noises, it keeps you going in the game. It keeps your blood flowing, keeps your blood pumping. You know what I mean? So, I was talking to Tim actually earlier. He was talking about promoting the Star Wars night. And I was telling him one of my dreams is to see this place sold out. I just can't believe what it would be like hearing how loud, because we do have some of the rowdiest fans in the league. So this place sold out would be pretty special.
Yeah, it is a pretty special thing. Of course, you look back to last year and Connor McDavid jersey retirement night. I know it was a little bit before your call up, but man, like 6,600 people, every single seat was full. The energy was just off the charts, and like you have that in the playoffs too. Like it is.
Yeah,
Unreal.
The Kitchener series that I was at with Dylan was unbelievable. The games were unbelievable. The fans were filled. There wasn't much seats available, if not all. And it's cool just seeing what type of fan base we have and the community we're backed by. It's special. Not many teams can say they have that. So it's just an honor playing in front of such a great organization with great fans.
Yeah, it certainly is. And obviously for you, talk about the playoffs too and how important that was for your game again coming into this year, being around the team, being with the team during the postseason and again allowing that to develop, understanding, what the winning culture is like and what playoff hockey feels like.
Yeah, just with the type of team we had last year with a lot of older guys, successful guys, kind of I just sat back and took it as a learning experience and kind of just seeing like what it takes, to be at this level and to produce at that level and like the type of mindset guys have, like it's a lifestyle, like your playoff hockey is no joke, like you're in there, you're playing, you're fighting for your life, you're fighting for the logo, you know what I mean? So it was cool to just watch and learn. I played a couple games, which was very cool. Like it truly is a different energy. You throw hits, you block shots. Like there's nothing on your mind but winning the game. You could care less about your points or anything. You're there, you're blocking shots, and you're sacrificing for the logo.
Absolutely. So you come into the summer, you come into this year, you make the team, you become a guy, to be relied upon in this lineup, obviously, at such a young age. Talk to me about, working with some of these younger guys and maybe even kind of instilling some of the stuff that, whether that be your brother or whether that be some of the other veteran guys that you were around last season, instilling that in some of these other guys who are about your age, but you've got that kind of 1 year on them.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's an opportunity at the same time. I'm younger. I'm technically in my first full year, but that extra experience living with Dylan being my brother, it's obviously helped me understand a little bit more. So like when guys are down and like not excited, and because it's a tough league to play in, right? You're not going to produce and do all the same things you did at the last level. It's hard, and just being able to have that experience of guys before who've been there, my brother's been there, and kind of like bouncing off advice that like I've heard from them to give to them to make them feel better. I take pride in being a good teammate and a good leader. So being able to help my teammates in that way, Jake Murray's a young guy I live with, Tyler Cooper, like we're filled with a young squad, and being able to be there for those guys while also being able to open up about myself and talking to them. It's kind of just a mutual way where everyone's around you to help, and there's no bad questions or you could open up about anything. I kind of like that aspect of our team.
Yeah, 100%. That's huge. And obviously that open line of communication, it goes so far, right? And, for you, being on the bus, you're like running the bus back and forth, like you're around everybody. Like that's awesome to see. And again, I think that kind of speaks to, what we're talking about with, again, as a younger guy, still providing kind of that leadership quality around this group. And again, just a personable guy just ripping around the bus.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's hard on the bus. I'm a chatty guy. I like talking to guys, and my brother was at the very back this year. So if I wanted to talk to him, I had to make my way all the way back, but I was thankful for it because, I've made a lot of connections along the way. Like one of my favorite things are the bus rides. Like there's a stuff you won't forget 20 years from now, sitting
100%.
on a bus, talking with your buddies, just chatting it up. So it was cool, but you also build friendships and connections with guys like Trevino and stuff like that, where you might have not had the opportunity to get really close with them, but with going to the back of the bus and sitting on a bus to Sioux 9 hours, you start to talk to people, right? So it kind of creates that open room sense for our team, and making sure that everyone's open to talk to everybody and nobody's going to get harped on for saying anything to an older guy. But it all stems with the coaches. They're very open. You can talk to them about anything, and I think it's great.
Yeah, it goes a long way, right? Because that can be tough sometimes as a younger guy, right? But I feel like with this group, and again, for me from an outside perspective, it feels like it is very open when it comes to communicating. And I think Tristan Trevino has done a great job in his time as captain here in making sure that is the case, right? Because again, that's how it should be, right? Like you guys are all a team, you're all together, it's all one goal. So, why not be able to have some fun with everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Like we're spending like 7 months together,
Yeah,
right? Might as well enjoy it, and
100%.
not hate it, right? Because it's no fun when you hate something, right? You gotta love it. It's hockey. It's your job. Like Mally always says, if your hardest part of your day is showing up to the rink for 3 hours, then man, you're living a terrible life. You know what I mean? So like it's a great opportunity. Obviously, moving away from your friends and family sucks, but gives you an opportunity to make new friends and make new bonds and connections with people. So I like how all of our guys are close and we hang out as a team a lot. And our record doesn't reflect on our room. And being able, like, I know with other teams, my buddies, they say, like, when they lose, like, no guys talk to each other enough. Like, we're very open. Like, we're a brotherhood. We're a family, right? And I think that's very important. Mallory's made that very clear that we need to be a family because we are spending so much time together where it won't be fun for guys if you start hating each other.
Yeah, 100%. Like at the end of the day, right? You're playing your job is to play a game. And you mentioned you're around each other so often. It's not just, the time on a practice day like today. It's also, again, like you mentioned, 9 hours on a bus to the Sioux, time in the hotel. Like it's a lot of time that you spend with these guys. So again, you might as well enjoy it. And look, these years, and I think your brother's obviously going to say that, you hear it often from the overagers, is like these years they go so fast and you don't get them back. Like junior hockey is a really special thing, so soak it in while you have the time.
Yeah, like even this year, like I don't know, maybe we got like 60 days left, 2 months maybe, but it's flown by.
Yeah,
And
it has.
It really has. And, even with, I had a rough patch at the start of the year, but it's truly like it goes by quick and you don't really appreciate it till it's over. Like Dylan's sad about it, like obviously, because these are like unforgettable memories. Like I sit there and I'm I'm very grateful for the opportunity I'm in because I've made a lot of new friends and stuff like that. So it is like it's as good as you want to make it. I say to people is if you want it to be fun, you'll do things and you'll get out of the house and you'll have fun. If you don't want it to be fun, you'll sit in your house, you'll sit by yourself, So I'm a big believer on do it as it is. You know what I mean? If I want to have fun, then go have fun. Like nothing stopping you really, obviously. Like I live with two guys, like we always hang out. Like it's one of a kind.
Yeah, and the best part about that for you is you're in year 2 of this experience, right? You've got plenty of time left to, again, have some fun. But I'll never forget last year. It was around this time of year we were on the bus and Panophemus was just like, wasn't himself. And I think it was Ken Paroff. It might have been Wes Wolf. Somebody asked him, hey, like, Pano, what's up, man? Like, is everything good? He's like, Coach, like, I just keep trying, like, I can't wrap my mind around the fact that it's almost over. Like, this part of my life is almost over. And that, like, for me, just kind of like sitting there as a bystander, just like kind of stuck with me. I'm like, you know what? Like, man, like, you almost see it as every day, right? Like, it is a grind, but at the same time, like, yeah, these years, especially for you guys, like, even for me at 23, like, the college was kind of like my thing when it comes to that. But, like, for you guys, like, yeah, you don't think about, like, man, these guys, like, life kind of hits you right away. And I think it's nice now that you have the opportunity to go to school out of this league, because then you get to almost have that, you live this kind of life now, and then you get to redo it again, especially for those guys that get that opportunity. So it's interesting just, hearing different guys' perspective on junior hockey and on the OHL, and, moving away for you at 16 years old, moving away from your friends and family to not only a new city, but a new country, and then having to live essentially a new life. It's remarkable just what you guys are able to do.
Yeah, it's definitely it's difficult. It's not easy, obviously, but I like hockey so much because everybody else is going through the same thing, right? You could bond over it, you could connect to it, but touching back on the when it's almost over, like Dylan, when he got traded from here, he was upset because this moving away, like you're starting a new lifestyle, it kind of becomes a part of who you are, right? Like he spent 4 years here, right? So it kind of became a part on who he is, and being able to say goodbye isn't easy, right? And so just living that lifestyle and then it having to be over at a quick halt, it's obviously difficult, but I try to soak in my time and enjoy every moment and take the lows as an opportunity to get better, and taking the highs and not making them too high, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. That's the biggest thing, especially when you look at a 68-game grind. And obviously, you're a baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy. You hear that adage all the time in baseball, right? Like, you can't let the highs get to too high, because if you do, then when the lows hit you, you're going to be in tough shape. And being able to navigate that and having that mental strength, I think, is really important. And I think that translates really well to the game of hockey as well, right? Like, you played baseball, you understand when you're going through it. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah, it's the mental side of things are hard. It's tough. You move away from your family, your friends, your girlfriends. It's tough, right? But being able to be around a lot of guys helps with your mental health. It's a hard league to play in. If you're not, you hold yourself to a high standard, and when the lows get low, they could get really low. And I've dealt with that this year, but I've learned through talking about it and opening up about it that it's very important that you take the lows as a learning opportunity, and then the highs you can't take too high, or you'll be right back on the lows. You can't be comfortable with being good.
Yeah.
There's always a way to get better.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's so important. And again, it's a development league, right? It's developmental for everybody. And I think that, you mentioned some of the lows and powering through that, right? Like a moment scoring that shorthanded goal a couple of weeks ago, right? Like that's the reward for battling through some of those type of moments.
Yeah, it's obviously, I take pride in, I feel like I'm a type of guy who can produce, and I wasn't producing much to start the year. I had to find a way to contribute a different way, and just finally getting that relief off my back of scoring my first goal of this year was kind of a cool feeling. And after I got home, I was like, I miss that feeling. Like that's why I play hockey. Like scoring a goal, fist bumping your teammates, your crowd going crazy, like that's the stuff people dream of.
Yeah, that moment was a sick one, right? Like coming out of the box. When you're in the box, I imagine that's the first thing on your mind. Like, oh, when I come out of the box, like, you never know, maybe the puck will break to me and you got a boom, easy breakaway, and it just happened that way.
Yeah, like I obviously the first minute of the penalty kill, I was upset that I got called for a penalty. But the other minute I was sitting there and I actually manifested it, and that's a big thing for a group this year is manifesting. If you believe it, it's going to happen. If you keep putting your mind to it. And I was sitting there and I was manifesting what I would do if that opportunity did happen. And it went down exactly how it went down in my head. Grab the puck, backhand, forehand, tuck, and it was pretty cool.
It was a sick move. I mean, it was a fantastic goal.
Yeah, and it was against Joey Costanzo, who I skate with quite a bit.
No
in the
way.
Summer. Yeah, he's a good family friend of mine. So
also been statistically one of the best goalies in the OHL too. So
yeah.
Probably had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was funny because when I think it was Shelton was going out with Brown, came over and asked me how I was doing, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Do you want to let one go in for me? I need a goal. And he goes, no, you ran me earlier. And then it's funny enough, I ended up scoring on him not too long after, so that was pretty cool. And then giving it to Villanova on the way back because he gave it to me when I took that penalty, so it was kind of good and it was kind of cool, and that kind of got my blood going and got the team going for a little bit of energy, so it was great.
Yeah, that was a sick moment. That's again, I look back at Hendrick's goal against Sarnia, that one for you, like Plonner's breakaway against Niagara a few years ago. But again, it's a long season, man. It is a long season. But no, like as moments when this year ends, like those are moments that you're gonna look back on, like you put the highlight tape together for the 2025-26 Erie Otters. Those are what come to the front of your mind.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it's just like the guys had a lot of excitement for me because they knew how bad I wanted to get my first on the year. But it's just like when Hedrick scored against Kitchener, it's amazing, against his old team, like all the guys rallied behind him and cheered with him after and got him excited. The crowd got into it. It's just a different type of environment in the stadium that like everyone was genuinely happy for him, and that's what hockey's about.
Yeah, 100%, man. That is exactly what it's all about. And for you guys to come up with those type of moments, again, that's what it's about, right? And you mentioned you having some words a little bit down there on the ice. Are you a pretty chatty guy down on the ice? You like to chirp a little bit?
Yeah, I'll mix it up from time to time.
Okay.
Obviously, you want to give yourself and your team any competitive edge you could get, and then if that's by throwing off a guy like Nathan Villeneuve, who's a very good player, off a little bit, then that's just a positive, right? So it's always something you could add to your game by finishing your check, giving it to a guy after the whistle, giving him a little love tap after a whistle, just letting him know you're there. Gives you that slight little bit of edge, kind of like a Brad Marchand type of player, and everyone hates that guy, but I'm sure they'd love for him to be on your team because he creates that sense of competitive edge.
Yeah, 100% he does. And again, that type of play style, I know I love to bring up my playing career. I do the
Yeah.
same thing when I would play because, like, I was fourth line guy. Like, I could barely skate, but I'd just play but like try to finish a check, after the whistle, a little whack on the ankles. Like, you got to let him know you're there, right? And then because you never know when that guy turns around and socks you, then he's going to the box.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
help your
exactly.
team win.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's a game within a game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You gotta throw your guys off. If you gotta take a punch for a power play, then so be it. You gotta be willing to do whatever it takes, and if that's what it takes, then so be it.
And that type of mentality, that'll get you. I mean, get you a long way, man. That's awesome. Like, again, that type of mentality wins a lot of people that fill these seats over as well, which obviously helps out. And yeah, like that style, right? And having some good chirps down there, like it's got to be fun too. You get a good one, and the guy can't come back. Like that's.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. You feel good about yourself going back to the bench, being like, he didn't know what to say. Or like even last game against Kitchener, I was talking to my brother for a bit. Then the ref blew the whistle, and I pushed his skate back, and he almost ate it face first. And it's just kind of like it's my brother, but at the end of the day, he's wearing an opposite jersey, so there's no friends on the ice. You gotta be ready to play. And there's a game. There's the hockey game, and then there's a game between the whistles that I say, like, if a guy is skating by, give him a little tap, let him know that, like, it is, and it means a lot to the team. Like, guys recognize it, and guys see it, and it helps us a lot.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I got to ask you about playing against your brother. You gave him a pretty good hit in the game. He was smiling when he skated past Tim between the benches there. You got him pretty good. Talk to me about what that experience was like. I know had the chance to catch up with your guys' family as well, making the trip down. I imagine for the Edwards clan, that was a pretty special night.
Yeah, it was cool. Obviously Dylan was excited to come back to Erie. He loved his little thank you video from the fan base and from the organization. But it was cool to play against him on home soil. I've played against him in Kitchener.
That's true, yeah.
But back to the hit, like, I didn't really realize it was him at the time, and I was just finishing my check, and then after I realized it was him, it was pretty special because in the summertime I give him no break either. I'll finish my check. There's no friends, right? And he likes it too, and I wouldn't be mad if he did it to me either. You know what I mean? It's the game, and that's what you sign up for.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what you sign up for. You're out there to hit the other guy, right? They're wearing the wrong colors.
Exactly. There's no friends, and hockey's a contact sport, right? So if you don't want to be hit, you shouldn't play.
Absolutely. So let's step away from the ice a little bit. Let's talk about what you like to do away from the rink. I know obviously you hang out with Murr a lot. One thing I got to ask you about too is your haircut. You do your own. You got your own little barber shop going on.
Yeah, I cut my hair yesterday. I've been cutting it recently. I'm very particular about my hair. So I was surprised when, like, one day me and Murr went out and we got some Dollarama razors, and I was like, "Give me a haircut." And then after that, I was like, I think I could do this because I've gotten my hair cut so many times where I could start, like, knowing what to do and looking at the barber and seeing what he's doing and kind of relating that to myself was pretty cool. And going back home for Christmas, my parents got me some nice gifts, some very expensive tools. So it's pretty cool. And obviously it saves me a lot of money down the road and could potentially make me a lot of money.
I was going to say that could be a little post-hockey career for you.
I like it. I got a lot of pride for it. Being able to cut your hair and makes you feel good, makes you feel like you look nice, and kind of gives you that little boost on the day. Nothing's better than waking up and feeling that you look good that day, right? So to be able to do that, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty sick, man. That's a cool, like, I can't imagine there's too many guys, not only in the OHL, but in the world of hockey that are like, yeah, I cut my own hair and I'll give the teammates cuts. I know there's, you look at the NHL, I imagine they bring in a barber, every now and again to cut the guy's hair. Like, how cool could it be? One of the guys on the ice, he's giving everybody a haircut.
Yeah. I also just like the fact that, like, I cut Michael Deck's hair and Murr, and I was in Kitchener on our off day, and then the next day they scored and they celebrated, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because they liked their haircut, and it's kind of just it's another reason to bring the boys together, right?
100%.
And that's what it's all about.
That is awesome, man. Well, I hope that that's something that maybe you do pursue down the line, because that would look really, really sick, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm played in the OHL, played, wherever, you end up beyond the OHL and you have your own barber shop, like downtown Toronto or something. Like, that'd be sick.
Yeah, it's perfect, and it's also something I like. Like, a lot of people say, like, when they go to the barber shop, it's kind of an open space. And
Yeah, that's true.
kind of being able to touch back on being able to connect with people and talk and build new connections it's very cool, and I like that side of sports, and a barbershop is another way to get that.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you love that. Yeah, you just kind of go in there, shoot the breeze, right? And obviously you build that connection with your clients. It's a very personal connection. I think that's a unique element. I guess I don't really think about that too much when I go to get my hair cut. That's what I'm gonna be honest. It's one of my least favorite activities.
Really?
Like you feel good after, but like when you do it, and like you got hair all over, like that feeling just drives me nuts. Like,
that part.
but
does
once
suck.
you're done, you get a little shower, you're good to go. Then you're like, all right, like, you feel pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
when
good.
you look good, you look in the mirror, you're like, okay, I look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good. So it's definitely cool, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad I picked it up.
Yeah, that's a sweet hobby to have. So what else do you like to do? Summertime. I know you're a big baseball guy, big Blue Jays fan. What else does Kayden Edwards do on an off day or maybe in the summer?
On an off day, it's something every day. Me, Murr, and now Hedrick. Hedrick recently moved in with us. It's always something. We're a bunch of different thinking guys, and it's just whatever we're doing that day. And I like living with them. It's very fun, and you can't really say we do anything set scheduled. It's just let's just have fun, and we have a lot of fun at the house. And in the summertime, I work out, train, stuff like that. But when I'm not doing hockey things related, I'm hanging out with my friends, and I play in a softball league with my dad and my brother.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool because obviously I can't play baseball at such a high level anymore. My dad got back into softball after being out for a while, and they didn't have enough guys, and they asked me if I wanted to play, and ever since that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's like baseball, but you don't have to take it as serious.
Yeah.
You could show up for game time, just get a little warm. You don't got to train in the off season for it, so that's something I have a lot of fun doing in the summer.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Baseball's the best, man.
It is. I love it. At one point when I was younger, I was always like, I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball more than hockey, and eventually I grew out of it, and I started liking the fact that in hockey you could hit somebody.
That's true, yeah.
The physical nature of it, but doesn't mean I don't love baseball any less. It's still one of my favorite sports.
There's nothing better than just being at the ballpark, man. I'm yearning for the days, man. I love it. It's
just
the best.
Sitting there, and I was a second baseman, eating some seeds, making a sick play.
Well, you can chirp the guy on second base
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah.
If there's a runner on. Like, there's still that element of the game.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Like growing up, I actually played against Tyler Challenger.
No way.
Yeah, his team was always one of the best, and it would always be my team against his team in the finals of the OBA, so of all of Ontario, and he always beat us, unfortunately.
Of course.
Yeah, they had a really good team with also OHL player Pearson Bowie.
Oh, he played baseball too?
Yeah, he also played on that team with Challenger, so did Alexander Bilecki.
Okay.
So it was kind of just seeing like the connections.
So who's who?
It's a small world, you know what I mean? A lot of the hockey guys playing baseball in the off season, so it was competitive because those hockey guys do have a different sense of competitiveness, and it's cool. And I've made a lot of memories about it, and friends, and lifetime long memories that I won't be able to forget.
Dude, that is so cool. Like that's what it's all about. Do you go to many games in the summer?
No, not really, because Blue Jay games are expensive.
They are, and the ballpark is so tough to get to.
Yeah, like I live pretty local to it. Like it's not far of a GO train ride. It's just more the expense of it. But I like to watch a lot of the games on TV when I can, the highlights and stuff like that, because they're getting better.
I like go to the World Series
yeah,
last year.
Yeah, it was devastating. We were on the bus in Owen Sound. We got to Owen Sound, and like nobody wanted to get off the bus. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and Mally's like, "Nope, you guys got to go do it. Like, hurry up, quick! Like the game won't be over." And we go and run inside, and fans are still in the arena watching the game on the jumbotron, and it was just like that type of thing is like what baseball and sports are about. Like we played Barrie that night, and my dad was still in the bar watching the game, and he ended up meeting a couple Barrie players. So that's I was like, that's like, I took a seat back, and like that's what sports is about, like bringing people together, and it's really cool.
It was really cool how that run kind of brought the entire country together.
Yeah, because they didn't have much expectations going into the year, and obviously whenever a Toronto team does well, the city's a better place and the country's a better place because everyone's rallied behind them. When the Raptors won, the Leafs are good. They just need to get over that hump. But the Blue Jays, like, they're the only Canadian team in the MLB, so it was really the whole country was with them.
Yeah, certainly was. Well, Cato, this has been an absolute pleasure, my man. I got to ask you with one last thing. This is how I always wrap it up. One goal for yourself at the end of the year. How do you see this team finishing as well?
I'd want to see this team finish with a lot of progress. Every guy take a step in the right direction. I'd want to see my teammates succeed and, really take that next step so we could be a better hockey team next year.
Absolutely. Kayden, man, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That'll do it for another edition of the Off the Record podcast. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast. Just search OTT The Record. For our guest, Kayden Edwards, my name is Trevor Cabea. We'll see you again on another edition of Off the Record.